One of the things that I'm really passionate about is looking at and understanding different business models. And I really like to see how, as human beings, we've been so creative in our ability to be able to develop commerce and strategies for earning money and business models. And we've become so sophisticated in our ability to be able to create creative ways to be able to make money. We've got financial products that are so complicated and derivatives of those products that are one sector across, not even understood by the rest of the population. And I think that's amazing. But what I really think is also amazing is, as I've traveled, I really enjoy the ability to be able to see microeconomy and the way that it exists, very similar to the way that trade and commerce began in the very beginning, almost starting out with barter. And I wrote a little while ago a blog post about bus rides in Central America. And I spoke about the idea that almost every single bus in Central America has a conductor, and it's normally a young man who is responsible for making sure that he gets passengers onto the bus and collects the money. And at every single bus stop, or every time the bus stops, he jumps off and he starts to he's the one that's responsible for rustling up people, letting them know where the bus is going. And you'll hear guys screaming and shouting next to buses to try and get passengers onto the bus, to let them know to the destination to which that the bus is heading. And I really like that dynamic, because quite often it seems like that the owner of the bus is often the father, and sometimes the younger man seems like his son. And I really like in sort of experiencing that relationship. Today, I was on a bus. I am in Oaxaca, talking about informal trade. Do I want to buy a blanket? I'm in Oaxaca in Mexico, and today I was catching a bus, and when I got onto the bus, there wasn't a conductor. So I paid the driver the 8 pesos, which is, 20 US cents for my bus ride. And there didn't seem to be anybody doing the job of the conductor. We arrived at a bus stop, and I started to hear someone like shouting "Corredor Centro," talking in Spanish, and he was pushing pretty hard and he was banging on the side of the bus, and I was like, shit, it sounds like we've got a conductor that I hadn't been aware of before. And then I realized that as he stood there, he was rustling people up onto our specific bus, and that just before our bus was about to pull off, the conductor put his hand in the window, and the bus driver then gave him a couple of pesos for doing this job. So he was almost like, how would you describe it? Like an outsourced conductor service, where he stands there, and for every privately run bus that comes up to that particularly busy station, for the 1 or 2 minutes that the bus is parked there, he basically runs the service of letting people know where the bus is going and collecting money and putting them onto the bus. And then evidently he does that for the next bus. And I just thought it was such a cool little, variation on a theme, because there's a guy who's got an outsourced business. He is the bus conductor, but not for one specific bus. He does it for a whole lot of different buses. It's really cool to see that stuff. I hope you're having an amazing day and a really good start to your week. Sending you lots of love and good vibes from Oaxaca in Mexico.